Hi guys, welcome to Mark Anthony's Music Picks. Today is episode 15 and I want to focus on a producer that has a really high consistency rate. He's been around for the last 20 years. He's got multiple aliases and he's part of many groups, but the alias that he's most known for is Fatima Yamaha. His real name is Bas Braun. He's a Dutch producer, and like I said, he's been in the game for 20 years. He originally made his most famous track all the way back in 2004, and I find this very interesting that this track called "What's a Girl to Do" sat lurking on the B2 of a relatively obscure record made all the way back in 2004. And somehow, due to people dropping it in sets sporadically through the 2000s and leading up to 2015, it finally caught on with the right group, and he had a breakout. And this is his breakout record here on Deck Mantle, and the track is "What's a Girl to Do." And everybody has probably heard this at this point. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's slow and it has that really cool breakdown in the middle. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the girl's voice that says, "I just don't know what I am, I'm stuck," that's Scarlett Johansson, somebody that, you know, I've kind of always been a fan of her, but that's her voice in some movie that she did when she was younger. I thought that was really interesting. The rest of the EP here on this is pretty interesting stuff, but if I'm being honest, the reason that I bought it is for this. The next release that I want to talk about for Fatima is this other one on Deck Mantle. Deck Mantle seems to have him on lock for singles and EPs at least. And this one is the best of Deck Mantle. This originally, there's two versions of this. One came out in 2015 and sold out because it had great tracks on both sides. It was going up to, I remember, 80 to 100 bucks, and I missed it and I caught on too late, and I was like, man, that's really good, but I'm not spending 100 for it. And I guess they got some pressure, Deck Mantle got some pressure to repress it, so they did another issue, and now you can get it for a little bit cheaper. The track on here is called "The Creature from Culture Creation," and it's a slow, kind of dark, has a forest feeling to it. I always feel like I'm in a forest in Zelda when I listen to this. I think it would be good for an opening set or something where you're trying to be a little I guess, like on the sneak and not, you know, over the top. I think it just kind of lurks in the background, and it would be a good way to like ease people into a set. Nice and slow, and kind of brooding and haunted all at the same time. So give this one a listen. Excuse me. The next single I want to talk about, this is the one that came out on Deck Mantle again in 2017, and this is Fatima's track called Araya. I would say out of his whole catalog, this one is the most inclined towards a festival, like a festival experience. It's big, it has a huge progressive, kind of classic progressive bass line, more up-tempo in terms of beats per minute, and like I said, just very uplifting and kind of peak hour. I can just picture it being played at an outdoor set for the most part. Not really, I mean, I guess you could play in the club too. What's the difference? But also the track on the B1 is nice, although I can't think of the name off the top of my head. The B2 didn't really resonate with me, but this is definitely a single worth checking out if you want something of Fatima's to definitely play in a club set. And speaking of club sets, I kind of tangented for a second there. Fatima, apparently, according to just some basic research that I did, he never played a club set until 2015. I don't know how true that is. You would think at some point he played in the side room of some venue somewhere, but people are saying he never played a club set or did a public appearance all the way till 2015. And that breakout moment was the deck mantle / boiler room set that was recorded of him in 2015. I highly recommend watching and listening to this set, because you can see he's set up with his synths, and you could tell it's like a pre-recorded like mix of himself that he made, right? It's like hour and a half long, and then he's jamming over top, so like adding an impromptu layer on top of his existing tracks, and it peaks. The whole set peaks when he plays "What's a Girl to Do," and he's jamming with an extra, human layer of that synth over top of the original, and it really sends chills up and down my back. I highly recommend it. I'll put a link down below as usual. So I just wanted to make sure I covered that before we moved on to the next title. Next up, another Fatima remix. This one's dark. This is his remix of Kiani and his Legion. The track is called Electric, and it's the B2 remix. This is pure suspense. This is slow. It has a kick, I think once every 8 or 16 beats. It just has a big bass crash, and then the synth is kind of like doing this haunted dance in the background. This would be awesome to open up a venue with and just let it roll for like 4 or 5 minutes before mixing in something different. One thing to note, it's slow, so you're not gonna play this and then go into a 125 track. It's not gonna happen. This is somewhere in the 110 to 1 teens. So you're gonna have to get slick and have something else lined up behind this that has a lower default tempo, so you can sort of like creep your pitch up and get into your set. But I think this was a jaw dropper. I remember on Facebook when this first came out, Patrice Baumel, somebody who I really admire as a producer and / DJ, was talking about how much he liked this, and I totally agree. I think this is sinister. And if you look on Discogs, nobody's talking about it. Easy to get, maybe overlooked, or maybe it's just a little bit too out of the ordinary for people. I'm not sure. Highly recommend. And last up, this is an essential purchase in my opinion, going for about 30 bucks, 35 right now on Discogs. There are a couple different versions of this. This is Fatima's Imaginary Lines album. It's the only album that he did under the Fatima alias. It has a lot of really good songs on it. I first want to talk about the format though. There's an LP version and there's a 2x12. Generally speaking, if you want to play club sets, you want to stay away from LP cuts because they're shallower and the needle is more easily deflected or skipped. So if you want to play these in a club setting, or if you just want to be like a total audiophile, just get the 2x12. I think you're going to get a better experience. But there's a couple tracks on here. I think the whole thing is really, really cool. But the track that first hooked me is called Citizens. It's a little 3-minute jam, and it has a girl singing in it and really, really big violins and strings that are just kind of like popping off. That song gets me. I wish there was an 8 or 9 or 10-minute version of it, because I could listen to that all day. Love Invaders on the B1 is super fun and uplifting and catchy, like fun vocal, catchy vocal. Good to like listen to in a club or driving around in the car, day party. That one's a jam. And also the entire D side, I think is a really good lesson in just synths. Fatima, the reason that he's good, it's the same reason Maceo Plex is so good. It's because they know how to play a keyboard, and they also have good taste in the keyboard. Well, not the keyboards, but like the sounds that come out of them. They're picking synths that like literally sound good all the way across the spectrum. So when you start mixing 2 or 3 of those different layers into a track, and somebody has good taste and they know how to play a keyboard naturally, or just from years and years of experience, like it just turns out to be a masterpiece. So I love this guy. I'm waiting to see more from him. There hasn't been much in the last year or two, but he's awesome. I haven't delved much into his aliases. There's a lot of digging. There's a lot of digging to do there. It looks like he was making some electro in the early 2000s. I need to scope it out before I comment any on that. But yeah, that's all for today. I hope you guys found this informative, and I'm gonna throw you a little clip here in a second. Have a good day. Take care.